The TCL QM8K has a sharpness problem. It is extremely blurry and it is very difficult to get that to come out. I have been trying for a numerous amount of hours, so no matter how good the colors may or may not look on anyone's YouTube video, blurry is the word you need to think about when you hear the TCL QM8K. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't present itself as easily when you watch demo content, which is why I always say put real content on. And when you do that, the experience slides downhill so fast you'll scratch your head asking, is it even the same TV as when demo content was playing? Now, for the interest of making this TV look as humanly good as I possibly can, as I tell you bad news, I'm going to let the demos play. So you can see it does have good color. It's not great. It's not flagship like something like the S95F next to it, but it's good color that does impress. The problem is it's not as vibrant. So saturation and vibrancy are two different things. Some instances like now, vibrancy is there. Colors look poppy and beautiful. But then in other scenes, it's just falling so far behind that it just feels like there's no way to recover it. Again, skin tones being one of those things I've been struggling with. All manner of color is something I have been struggling with. And the starting point, as you guys know, out of the box is terrible. There's no redeeming it out of the box. If you are pulling it out of the box and you're thinking you're going to see a great picture, you're going to likely run back to the store faster than anything else because this picture is very, very green by default. Now, if that's not for you, well, then you're going to have to explore other options. And your other options ain't really great either because they kind of do a lot of the same shit where it's either really blue or really green. The problem with the TCL QM8K doesn't just stop there, though. It also has a weird way of going through your system menu to activate basic things like your game mode, for example. And I just can't understand why they wouldn't have had it built into the system in a way that made sense versus this convoluted way that literally nobody wants to watch it like that. I can't stress comparatively to, something like a QD OLED, how much more washed for color it can be at times, but then other times it will look absolutely beautiful. So the thing is, consistency just isn't there. If you are looking for consistency, you're going to have to look for a different TV because this TV does not have it. Now, for the HDR people that only ever watch HDR as if all content is ever only made in HDR, they will likely tell you that the brightness alone is so superior and so fantastic that no other aspect of picture quality is worth looking at. But if you look at the blue, like in this example, you can kind of see what I mean when I say sometimes the consistency is just so far out the window that you might as well stop even hoping for it or even looking for it. But in examples like now, contrast will be pretty decent. It trades back and forth to such an unforgivable degree that honestly, I can't recommend this TV despite wanting to. And I really want to believe in TCL that they can pull ahead, that they can do better. But all it is believing in potential because that's all this TV is promised potential that never really comes to fruition. Unfortunately, when you are trying to get the most out of, let's say, movie watching or TV shows or gaming, you're always grabbing for your remote, trying to adjust just one more setting. And it gets to a point where you keep finding yourself saying just one more setting, one more setting, one more setting. And then it's not worth it at that point because you're spending more time and more man hours trying to adjust your television and make it look like something that frankly it probably can never look like, to the point where you just end up walking away altogether. The reason I say this is because this is not a cheap TV by anyone's stretch of the imagination. Like on sale, I ended up paying $15.99 or $14.99 for it. That is not cheap for a 65-inch. That's mid-range territory. The problem with that is for that amount of money, we have so many better options, particularly quantum dot OLEDs that you can get. For those who are afraid of burn-in, get off that horse because the amount of quality that you are going to get supersedes any fear that you may have. And as a person who's been using OLEDs for many, many years now, I can tell you that the burn-in thing is really a moot point at this point. I mean, maybe in 2017, 2016, 2015, yeah, sure. But nowadays, they've figured out a way that, the only real problem you're going to have are dead pixels after a few years. And honestly speaking, I think that's kind of understandable given that it's self-emissive technology that will eventually burn out. That's the only thing that I've seen with QD OLEDs is burnout. Now, this conversation isn't about QD OLED. It's about the TCL QM8. And I find myself really, really wanting to love this TV. That's where you have to really separate your personal feelings of bias, like wanting something, and reality. And no matter how much I might want it, this TV can never be past a certain level. It just can't. And I've been trying. I've tried everything under the sun that I could possibly think of to give it the extra contrast, to give it the extra kick. Calibrations out the ass. I've been here exhaustive amounts of hours. I've given myself headaches, migraines, and made myself feel nauseous, all in the pursuit of a better picture that just isn't there. Now, that doesn't mean that your experience is horrible and this is an absolute terrible TV. I just don't recommend it given its price point. If the price point were to drop to, let's say, $999 or even $899 for a 65-inch, I think that would be fair in line with the kind of quality they're giving you. And really, it boils down to two things. This TV it really lacks severely in the clarity department, where especially when you're watching these YouTube videos, like you can't see it over the camera that's, a Sony camera with the best Sony lens, that I could buy. I mean, that expensive gear will always make a turd shine. And unfortunately, the processor in the TCL QM8 this year is a turd because low bitrate content at all just looks so fuzzy, so blurry. But it's more than that. I mean, even if you're using 1440p, I was using my RTX 5070. It's a brand new mid-range GPU, and you'd think I could, when on maxed out settings, see some excellent quality out of this TV. It looked so blurry, I was so confused. Go to the gaming channel that I have here to see that. It was so bad, I found myself asking what the hell happened. Genuinely confused by the lack of quality. And honestly, I think that's one of the things a lot of you guys, it doesn't matter what any review says, right? Reviews are opinions based off of metrics. I could measure this thing. I could give you tech specs. I could compare it to everything under the sun. But being 100% transparent and honest with you, there is no point. There is no point. Because I know for a fact that there isn't a single LG OLED that's going to have these clarity problems. So by default, this got beaten by every single LG OLED in the clarity conversation alone. I know for a fact that there isn't a single Samsung QD OLED that has these clarity problems. And that's saying something because I don't like the S95F at all. But for this to be so weak picture quality wise, the blades of grass, for example, now they look very fuzzy, very, very fuzzy. And I have to really squint to try to get detail. That's a problem. Now, I don't know if it's the new update that I recently did, but it's not looking good at all. At least for the clarity aspect of it, for the price. It really feels like a budget TV. And I think that's really, really sad given, again, this was a chance for them to really come out of it. And I don't know, by the way, what's going on with the frequency of the backlight system behind this television. But the TV has a way of making you feel nauseous when watching it. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like there's some sort of pulsing or flickering happening that shouldn't be happening, where I just start feeling sick just looking at it, where I have to just take my eyes off it and then look over at my QD OLED because I'll start feeling nauseous. That's not normal, along with the other things that I've mentioned. All in all, I think, again, if you're in for a big TV, you don't really care about the sharpest, clearest, or most vibrant TV, then sure, go for this. The black levels are exceptional and the brightness is exceptional. Speakers are exceptional. That's all you're really getting here. There's no, come to glory moment where you find yourself with this TV and going, oh my gosh, I just hit the lotto. This is the best TV I've ever had. This is amazing. Unless your TV before this was so substantially weaker that you couldn't help but just glaze over what new improvements of modern technology do. I can safely tell you that for what they're charging, I'm disappointed. In demo content, again, you're going to see a picture that's not going to represent my words. You're going to be like, well, I don't really agree with that. Or maybe some people just aren't as quotation mark picky as me, but I can tell you it's not going to be what you're expecting if you're expecting a lot. If you expect a little, you might be happier, I would say. But I have been shopping around, and I could tell you right now on the market today, you could get yourself a freaking 65-inch Samsung S90D. S90D. You can pick that up for about 1,100 bucks on sale right now. The regular price is like 1,300 bucks, 1,349, 1,399. You know what I mean? And when it's 1,399 for the 65-inch, and then TCL literally wants $1,500, $1,499, you're paying $100 more, and you are getting such a subpar TV. And I mean, on every level quantifiable that you could express in the human language, to the point, and that is why, ultimately, no, I do not recommend the TCL QM8K, because if you're in the ballpark for an S90D or a TCL QM8K, you'd be a stupid person to take hard-earned cash, pay $100 more, and get less clarity, less vibrancy, less motion capabilities. It's just the less competent television for more money at this point in time where I'm doing this review. And all day, that's an L. That's an L. You're not coming back from that. You're not winning anything. And I don't recommend doing that. Now, that being said, I don't hate TCL. I think they have potential, but they need to tap in, lock in, and learn how to do processing. Maybe take notes from Hisense or Sony, because those two are really doing a great job for clarity. Samsung is flat as hell this year, so it's amazing that this garbagely flat TV is still beating the TCL QM8K. Wouldn't have expected that to happen, but it is happening. And again, I've been putting exhaustive hours of calibration in. And to that end of proving what I'm saying and not just saying it, I'll go ahead and show you where I started from, okay? This is where I started from. This is where I ended on, okay? There is an immense amount of effort that goes into these calibrations to get these TVs to change from how green and dim and ugly to give it the life that it needs back, okay? So it has absolutely been fully optimized, and now it looks nice. And it seems like now, makeup sticks, makeup canisters, makeup brushes. Yeah, sure, that stuff looks great. I have all the contrast I could want here, but when real content starts rolling and moving and you need clarity in certain areas, it just doesn't give it. I have really made that the center point of what I'm talking about and bringing it to the forefront, because that's what's going to disappoint you the most, as it's what disappointed me the most, starting off really loving the premium presentation that no other company is offering, the beautiful remote, the excellent speakers and sound quality, the inky deep black levels that are absolutely beautiful, and the extraordinary brightness. Unfortunately, all of those bells and whistles are just not enough to overcome how truly blurry, hear that word, blurry this TV is. And I think it's going to bug you. That being said, though, if you can deal with less color, blurriness, and the feeling of nausea here and there from time to time, then this is your guy. Otherwise, just spend less money and buy the 65-inch Samsung S95D or S90D and call it a day while you still can before they get discontinued. This is as honest as anyone's going to tell you. Hopefully this video found somebody who needs some help buying a product well. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching the #1 brand in honesty. Leave your questions and comments down below. Let me know if I'm freaking out, tripping, or whatever the case may be in the comments below. Until the next video, I'll see you guys later.